Okay, let us start. Out of the 6 mindfulness contemplations on the body, we are going to look at the breathing now. By the way, I changed the settings of the Moodle quiz. So by now, I think there was an error in the setting. So by now, you should be able to see the marks and the feedback. Can one of you check and let me know?
Yes, sir, you can see.
Can see, right? Okay, thank you. Sorry, there was my little mistake by me. One setting was wrong, right? Okay. So in that, a general feedback will be given with the marks. So you can take that advice. Right? Let us look at the breathing meditation now. For this particular meditation, the body posture is important because we have to facilitate the breathing in such a way that it should happen very naturally. There should not be any barrier to block the breathing, proper breathing in the body, which means that the upper half of the body should be very straight. Upper half of the body should be straight, and the body weight of the body should be transferred vertically down to the ground, which means that your spinal cord must be, the spine should be vertical so that the body weight is properly transferred down to the earth. If there is any tilt of the body like this, for example, after you do meditation for, let's say, 15 minutes, you will find certain muscles of one side of the body might develop some pain. Therefore, it's very essential that since we are going to remain calm during this meditation, for this meditation, not the previous one. Our previous one, metta meditation, could be done in any of the 4 postures of the body. But this one, you need this recommended postures, the lotus or the half lotus, Burmese, or safu, which means you can use a pillow like this, or you can even use the chair, but sit upright. Don't tilt, don't allow the body to tilt back. Or you can use a little bench, meditation bench like this, which is known as the sesha. Okay. So since you are sitting right now, you can sit upright without let the body to tilt in any direction. Okay. Well, what I would recommend is, as during this week, you practice, choose a meditation pose and practice it. A pose like half lotus Burmese are well recommended. A full lotus is little tough. Some of you may be already familiar with it, but it needs a bit of a time to develop. Others are fairly easy. I mean, you can easily, within 1 or 2 days, you can set it up. So in the meditation sessions that we are going to do in the future, you need to develop a particular posture, and you need to set up the camera in such a way that when we request to show the posture also. That might need little special arrangement in your room, but I would suggest is that set it up by next week. Okay? So that from time to time we might need you to show the facial expressions during meditation. For certain meditations, we might request you to show the body posture as well. So please practice on your chosen posture Right. Regarding this particular meditation, now it is clear the bodily phenomenon you are going to focus is the breathing, which is a physical activity. Or is it only a physical activity? Not really, isn't it? There is a lot of mental activity going for the physical activity to take place. Therefore, it is the mind which is doing the breathing using the body. Okay, and for this particular meditation, we choose a certain area or certain region of the face where we keep our attention, which is usually this area, either the nose or upper lip. That area is known as the region of mindfulness for this meditation. For different meditations, the regions of mindfulness will differ. For this one, this is the area or region of mindfulness. Give me 1 minute. Having an urgent message. Okay, sorry about that. Right, area of mindfulness I introduced. So we don't think of the rest of the body. We allow our attention or focus completely to that area. And once we allow the attention there, our mind, your mind will develop a mental image or mental formation about what is happening here, using the physical touch happening during breathing. So we allow the mind to create a mental image representing this area. And in meditation, in Sinhala, it is known as Bhavana Nimitta. Nimitta means a particular mental image representing that region. So you will find that the sensitivity of this area increase. So that area becomes more and more sensitive, while once the attention or focus happens into focus onto that area. In the breathing meditation, this is one analogy. Actually, few analogies are there. So you first get your awareness into this area of mindfulness, and then breathing up and breathing down is similar to the saw going forward and pulled backwards. Right? And we should focus our attention to the breath only in this area of mindfulness. We will not focus on the breath which has passed that region. We will not focus on the breath which is yet to arrive into that region. So all our concentration will be in that area of mindfulness. So, which means the present moment, right? Because this is past, this is future yet to arrive. Don't focus on the past or the future, only the breath which is touching or giving sensation in that area of mindfulness. So here, once you become aware of that region, maintain the awareness in that region only without thinking of what happens to the breath after you inhale, what happens here in the chest, or what happens to the breath outside when you exhale. Don't think of any of them. Just maintain on the activity, maintain the attention on the activity happening in the area of mindfulness only. Okay, so these are the instructions before we go into the meditation. Therefore, if you have any questions, please ask them right now. Right? Have any doubts? Please ask them. Sorry. Another analogy is observing the breathing is like observing the tide in the shore, where you choose, rather than observing the whole shore, you will choose a particular area for observation known as area of mindfulness. And it's like the sea waves passing this area and then going back, right? Advancing and going back through this area. Right? So the water is similar to the breath there in that analogy. So again, we should train our mind not to focus on the water which has passed this area. So only the water in that area we have to be mindful of. And then there are multiple stages in this meditation. In fact, there are 16 stages in the full breathing meditation. But for the purpose of our course, we take a subset of that, which relates only with the physical body. Therefore, we will be selecting only few steps. Actually, first 4 steps. Before the first step, this is a preliminary thing. Preliminary part is becoming, let the awareness dawn of that region called the area of mindfulness. So this is preliminary stage. After that, the first stage is becoming aware of the breath, breathing in and breathing out. What is happening at the present moment, you become aware. There will be, we will be spending few minutes in that step. After that step is sufficiently achieved, after that has been sufficiently achieved, then we move to the next step where we let the mind to categorize whether the breath which is being observed is a long one or a short one. So that the mental activity is there to recognize the length of the breath. How do you recognize the length? You don't follow the breath to recognize how long it is. You just monitor here. Depending on the time it takes to pass that particular region, you decide whether it is a long breath or a short breath. We never follow the breath inwards. We never follow the breath outwards. We wait here. Attention waits here. And depending on the time duration it takes to pass that region, we decide whether it is a long one or a short one. Hope it is clear. Length is judged by the time duration taken for the breath to pass the area of mindfulness. Well, once that part is achieved, we move to this area where this step where we are now ready to experience the wholesome breathing. Wholesome means the complete breath from while waiting here, you know that the breathing is starting now, you know it is in the middle, you know it is towards the end now. All that you can judge while paying attention only to the only to that region called region of mindfulness. Right? But with more and more practice later, you will notice that this wholesome breathing means two parts. Don't look at this way immediately, later on, right? One part is physical, one part is physical activity, other part is mental activity. So wholesome means you will be able to separately identify this is the physical part of the breathing, this is the mental part of the mental activity that causes the breathing. So when you are familiar with both these physical as well as mental, then we call it wholesome. Wholesome breathing experience you are capturing to your mindfulness. Then we spend few minutes there until that happens. After that, we move to the next step where we allow this bodily phenomena known as breathing to calm down. Calm down means while we keep the mindfulness on, it will happen gradually. It will allow all the bodily functions to calm down along with the breathing. Breathing is the leading function. When that calms down, all the other bodily activities happening at that time, there are so many activities happening in the body, all that will calm down slowly. And then you can reach a very restful state. So these are the 4 stages then. This is number 1, 2, third stage, and the 4th stage. This one is only the preliminary state. It's not counted as a stage of the meditation. Right? So after the 4th one, of course, there are 12 more to develop that you can learn later. In this course, we will use only this part, right? First 4. This long and short breath part, I'm talking about this step number 2. The long breath and short breath categorization, why is it not there? There is a medium breath. We allow the mind to take a binary decision, long or short, purposely. We don't allow it to categorize as a medium breath. Analogy is, it's like a carpenter doing this sawing in such a way that sometimes you have seen that he does it in short spans, sometimes very long spans, and he is fully aware whether to draw it, whether to draw the saw in a long span or a short span. The same way, you will be fully aware whether the breath, present moment breath, is happening for a long duration or a short duration. So remember this as an analogy or simile. Another one, you will notice that when the breathing is gradually become calm, comparatively you will notice the gross breaths which were there at the start will become more subtle breaths, right? More subtle, maybe even more shorter, especially it's more subtle, smooth breath. An analogy is the progressive refinement of the sound of a gong after it has been struck. You know that the moment it is struck here, there is a gross sound, loud sound, but after that you have observed that the sound is slowly diminishing, becomes more refined, more faint. In the same way, the breath will be initially very gross, going up and down, but as the meditation progress, you will notice the breath, awareness of the breath will become very smooth and very subtle, very faint. But you never let it go. You never allow the mindfulness to go away from meditation. It will always hold on to the breath. Right? If the mindfulness is not holding on to the breath all the time, whether it's faint or uh, whether it's gross, uh, if it does not hold on to the breath, then you must stop and restart. Because uh, sometimes you might notice some of you feel sleepy, and then the mindfulness will fade away and give up on breathing and take on something else. If that happens, you stop the meditation and restart. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, uh, when a breath take place, there are physical elements like air and the nose uh, physically touching. So those parts are physical or tangible parts. And associated with it, there is a physical touch here where a lot of mental elements are generated, like feelings, perceptions. This long and short is a perception actually. Feelings, perceptions, and volitions. They are mental elements. These are physical elements. So as the time goes by, you will be becoming more and more aware of the mental elements active at that moment of time. Right? Okay. For example, uh, when a breath is moving upwards, suppose it starts, then there is middle, then there is end of the breath, and after that, the mind takes a decision to breathe down. It's not conscious to you, but it's a decision made by the mind. Now it is time to breathe down. So downward breath will start, then the middle, and then it will stop. Then upward breath again. So every breath happens due to a decision taken by the mind, but your consciousness may not be there on that decision, but the mind has decided. What if the mind decides to continuously go up, like let the upward breath go up and let it continue like that, rather than downward? Then what will happen? You can't survive, isn't it? Therefore, these mental decisions are not given to you. Control is not fully given to you. It's in the operating system for your safety. Otherwise, you might make a mistake, isn't it? You might even forget uh, the breath when something more interesting appears elsewhere. Right? Therefore, this giving this kind of control to your conscious mind is little dangerous. So it's not given, uh, but it is the mind doing it for you. Right? It's a volition by the mind given to you. Okay, let's do it and see. After that, we'll go to the next meditation. Any questions? I think I explained sufficiently for you to start it. But it's better if you have any kind of doubts about these steps. Uh, Maybe this is the right time to discuss before we attempt. Any ideas? Any doubts? Anything you want me to elaborate? Let me know. Okay, one question is there. Let us look at it. So is it okay to control the breathing speed while doing this meditation? Well, very important question. We should refrain from applying any control to the breathing, because the natural breathing is what we want here for mindfulness. So purposely refrain from making it shorter or longer by force, right? So I think it's very important question you're asking. It will be useful to everybody. Never force the breath and let it happen naturally. And you will notice naturally that regulation of the length of the breath is done by the mind to suit the physical activity. Like if the oxygen levels are low, it will take long breaths. If oxygen levels in the blood is less, um, it might take long breaths. Otherwise, it might take short breaths. Our consciousness need not be there. We don't need not consciously do it because it's happening automatically anyway. Right? So advice is never do forceful breathing. Mahins is asking, sir, should we create a mental image of the area of mindfulness or should we feel the area? Actually, when we say mental image has constituent parts. Feelings is one of that. Therefore, when you feel the area, it's part of the mental image. Mental image consists of all inputs like color, sound, everything, including your feelings, perceptions, emotions. Therefore, when you feel the area, uh, that feeling will be used in the mental image. Although we say image, it is not only image by color. The correct word is mental formation. In that formation, that feeling is already registered. So you already know how you feel when the breath is going up. So that feeling has been remembered. If that feeling is not there, for example, the mind will be mind will feel fear actually. Right? So naturally, when the breath is going up, you are aware because there is a feeling. That feeling is part of the mental formation or mental image. Next question, sir. If we have time, can you explain about the posture of the half lotus? Yeah. Full lotus means your 2 feet, bottom of the 2 feet, you can see both are facing to the ceiling upwards. So full lotus needs your two legs to bend fully in such a way that the bottom of the feet is facing to the ceiling, both. Half lotus means only one of them will be visible facing the ceiling, other foot is below this. Therefore, you will not see the bottom of that foot. That's why it's called the half. Only one foot, only the bottom of one foot can be seen uh, from the top. Let me go back to that pose. Maybe in the drawing it is not very clear. So it's good that you asked. Here, both feet, sorry, this foot as well as this one, both are facing up. Here, this is same, but this is below, not visible here. Right? It's it's not facing fully up actually, it's facing to the side. That's why the name half. But well, some of you full lotus may be easy, depends on the construction of your body. So I would suggest that you explore a little bit, trying these different ones before coming to a final decision. Full lotus is the best if you want to remain like that for a very long duration. Even for days, you can remain like that without any aching of any muscle of the body, and full facilitation of the breath will be there. Uh, but if that is difficult, other methods can be, of course, trained for that. Right. Another question. When sitting with the position like lotus, position, should we sit directly on the floor, or can we place a cushion on the floor and sit on it? Uh, Full lotus, you can sit on the floor. You will not feel pain, because the pain is felt normally at the edges. Because the edges are facing up, you will not feel any pain in the full lotus. But in other ones, you might feel pain in the touching positions when you use the bare floor. Therefore, you can use a mattress, no issue. Okay? If you prefer, you can use a cushion. And usually you sit at the edge of the cushion normally. Okay, well, there may be articles on the internet also about how to train a particular posture, like full lotus or half lotus. I would like you to have a look. Then step by step, those articles describe how you can train. Right. Okay, since the questions seem to be over, we will do the meditation together now. Now we have about 15 minutes, so which is a good time, correct time to do this meditation, right? Okay. Shall we get ready? If you prefer, you can use the chair today. Or those who have already trained the postures, you can use what you trained. Use the posture you trained. Right. Let the mind calm down. Allow it to relax. Allow the body also to relax. Now, first become aware of the full body posture. Become aware that your body is in this sitting position, whatever the posture you are having. Sitting position. So here is my body. Visualize that the body is in the sitting posture. So let that mental image be vivid. Let go of all other thoughts. So other mental images, let go of them. So now complete attention on yourself. Okay, now take a decision that I'm going to focus on that particular region of mindfulness in the nose area or the lips area. So slowly become mindful of that area now. Forget about the rest of the body. Let go of the rest of the body. So now you will feel that that region becomes more sensitive, more and more awareness developing there. You can feel that. Less awareness on the rest of the body. Okay, so try to maintain awareness in that area. During this time, some other thoughts might pop up or cross your mind. Just keep disregarding those thoughts. keep disregarding. After a while, such thoughts will not appear. Wait until sufficient calmness develop there. You can feel that mental formation of that region is becoming more intense, more vivid. Okay, so when other thoughts die down, now it is time. Now it is time to add on awareness of the upward breath and the downward breath to your mindfulness. Okay, now when breathing up, become aware. The breath is going up now. The breath is going up now. When the upward breath finish, become aware of the area of mindfulness again. Then downward breath. Then area of mindfulness again. Then upward breath. Again area of mindfulness. So you are becoming mindful of these three, one at a time. One at a time, upward breath, area of mindfulness, then downward breath, again area of mindfulness. Let that continue. Every time a breath finishes, focus on the area of mindfulness. Allow it to happen naturally. Now the awareness of the breath and awareness of the region of mindfulness are strong. Other thoughts are not appearing by now. Therefore, it is time to move to the next second step. Let's move there. Now, start categorizing the breath as long or short. When breathing in happens, by now you will know whether it is a long breath or a short breath. After that, again, focus on the area of mindfulness. Then breathing out happens. Again, while it happens, you become aware, is it long or is it short? And when it finishes, again, you focus on the region of mindfulness. Let that continue. as we decided earlier, do not forcefully make it short or long. You will notice your mind is monitoring exactly what is happening at the present moment now. So by now your mind is judging the start, the middle, the end of every breath to take this decision. Decision is whether it is long or short. To take that decision, mind is monitoring when it starts and the middle part of it and the last part of it. Slowly, the full awareness of the breath is taking place. Okay, now it is time to move to the third stage where you try to experience the wholesome breathing. So when breathing up, you notice there are physical elements here and mental elements active. When breathing down also, you try to become aware of physical as well as mental elements. Mental elements are any feelings, perceptions, or any thoughts about the breath. Slowly it's becoming clear that the breath has two parts, physical as well as mental. You do not need to separately identify each mental element, but just the awareness that there are mental activities happening is enough. You will notice this perception of long breath or short breath is also mental. Okay, now once you have captured the wholesome breath, then there is nothing else to do. Maintain that level of mindfulness continuously. Maintain that level of mindfulness. You will notice slowly you move to the, automatically it moves to the fourth stage, where both these mental elements and physical elements of the breath start to calm down. Along with that, all other bodily functions are calming down. It's a natural phenomena. Let it take place. Don't oppose it. If things seems to become slow, mild, faint, let it happen. Let that natural calmness take over without opposing it. All bodily functions are calming down along with the breathing. Awareness will be there on this very subtle breath. You will notice awareness is not dropping, it is maintained, but everything seems to calm down with full awareness. You never let the breath fall out of your mindfulness. Mindfulness is always holding on to this very faint, mild breath. Okay, make a decision now. It is time for me to stop this meditation. Now it is time for me to stop this meditation. Now it is time for me to stop this meditation. While suggesting like that, you can let the eyes open slowly. Let the eyes open slowly. Okay, so after that meditation again, you can compare the mental state now, state of your mind now, and the state of your mind just before the start of that meditation. Has any change happened? How much is the change and why? That kind of questions you can try to answer. Okay, so before we break, any questions about that little experience? Well, don't worry to ask by voice. Right. Okay, seems okay. But of course, you need more practice. After the practice, if you feel that this eyebrow area, these eyebrows are having little pain, little ache, which means that your mind is like silently directing your eyes to look at this area. Although the eyes are closed, because of the previous habits, the mind might command the eye to look down into this area. And that forces these muscles and you might experience pain. Not everyone experience like that, but some of you. Therefore, be careful in if such pain is felt at this area after the meditation, you need to correct it, which means next time when you go into this meditation, just look straight. Have a determination that you are not going to look down this area because anyway the eyes are closed. There is no point looking down. Suggest like that and then close the eyes. So your eyes will remain focused to the front, although it is closed. Then these muscles will be at ease. So you will not feel that pain. That's one thing to be careful. Second, you already asked one of you whether you should do forceful breathing up or down. You know the answer. We should never do that. Right? So those are the things to be careful. The third thing to be careful is some of you might have a tendency to do this step without this one. You might bypass that and directly go into this step, where at the very start of the meditation you try to become aware of the breath, which is very wrong. So this preliminary stage you should not skip. Right? Why I'm saying that is, let me explain. Say if this is the area or the region of mindfulness, this is the region of mindfulness, that is always where your mind should be focused on, right? Your mind should be, this is not the eye actually, this is the mind, right? I'm representing the eye by the eye. You are looking at this area using your mind. Right? So if this area is not well practiced, what happens is that after breathing, inward breathing is complete, before the downward breathing has started, there is a little time gap here. Right? After this step, breathing up, there is a very little time gap before the downward breath starts. This little time is enough for our mind to capture a lot of other mental formations and come back. To prevent this happening at the end of the breath, to prevent the mind thinking of other things, that's why we develop the awareness of the area of mindfulness, so that the breath is moving up through it, going down through it, but we never focus on these other things. We always maintain the focus of the breath, the focus of the area of mindfulness. So many people complain that when they do the breathing meditation, their mind is restless and the mind is moving away and thinking of other things. The reason is very clear, I think now. Reason is they are bypassing this particular step. Sorry. They are bypassing this preliminary step, this one, and they have the habit of directly moving there. And that's the reason. So those are the words of caution that I can give you. One more question before we start. Sir, how can we iterate loving kindness and mindfulness meditation throughout the week, any schedule? Uh, in fact, I am not suggesting any schedule because the times will be best times will be different for each one of us. What I would suggest is that at least you do once in a day, right? Whatever the time you choose, at least once a day, I would recommend. More than once a day is better because our time span for this course is unfortunately too short. Therefore, if you can meditate more than once in a day, it's better, right, for the course. But as a general practice, minimum of once a day at a regular time interval is the best recommendation I can give. Right? So please find your best time slots where the mind is calm and ready to meditate. Right? Okay. So our time is up for the break. Maybe we took a little extra time. We will stop here, this session, and 10 minutes break. After that, you can join our last session today.